So what I'm going to do is go over the crude oil trading method, and this over a 2-week period. Now, I was not able to finish this. I started this afternoon, and I had a busy day today. So, in fact, we had massive rains here, and I hadn't even noticed. And I looked out my back patio, and the windows are all fogged up. I go, how can it be fogged up? And I noticed somehow there's a big leak in the patio and the whole carpet was soaked and didn't smell very good. And it was one of those, oh no, just what I need. I got to go do this crude oil research report. I did the NAS, but I got to finish the crude and it's still sitting down. I got to call one of those guys with those, the vacuums that somehow sucks up all the water. That's a kind of a new invention. Those are pretty cool. So I got to call one of those guys, but whatever, this is more important. Anyway, the way crude oil works is we start tracking boomerang trades at 5:45 on this chart, which is 9:45 in New York, or a quarter to 9, 8:45. And what we look for, crude oil is a little bit different. You can use all the boomerang methods I just showed you on the mini NAS, but on crude oil, we're looking for 10 ticks. We're just looking for a little blast of 10 ticks on the right side of the market, and that's it. And boy, a lot of times they run substantially beyond that, but we don't care. We're going to put an initial 13 tick stop, and if they start whipsawing to the point where it creates a counter sell arrow, we'll just get out, or buy or sell, if whatever, depending on which position you're in, we'll just get out. Now, so far, just give you a quick count here. I got up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got up to 10 recent sessions, going from the 6th of this month through the 20th. And so far on crude oil, like I said earlier, I mentioned earlier that they used to average about 9 setups a day. Now they're averaging more about 5 or 6. And who knows why. After the election, crude oil setups on Boomerang got cut down by about a third. I don't know why. I'm waiting for him to come back maybe next week after this earnings season. We'll get things smoothing out a little in the markets in general. Who knows? And maybe this market will start pulling back a little. Up 155 today in the Dow. Holy smokes. They just keep going on. The Trump train just keeps steamrolling ahead. And look out trying to short that thing. It's kind of rough. As I mentioned, we shorted it today at one point off the high, 56.41, 56.40, and they knocked them back. But man, they took them right back up there again. Or I'm sorry, my mistake. Not looking at the right thing here, the right price. Let me get it right here. 51 41 was the high at that point, but they came in and put in a new high again. So, and good old gold's hanging up to around 1200, so that's nice. Probably going to get some kind of pullback here, 2 to 3% I'm expecting in February. So we're getting close to Feb. Maybe that'll happen. All right, I don't mean to get too sidetracked. Let me tell you the total of, in 10 sessions, we had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 54, 55, 56, 78, 9, 61. Okay. 65 10 tick setups. Third level, remember I was talking earlier about third level trades. We don't usually do those on NAS. Sometimes in crude oil, especially lately, if you want to go for it, you can. But just use extra caution because third level, that's a pretty big move. But crude oil is a monster, boy. When that thing gets going, it just keeps flying. But we had two third level crude oil trades. So not a lot, not really enough to shake a stick at, but enough to take a note of. And as far as stops, I tracked a minus. No minus 13s got hit. But there was there was one that got hit for 13. It was a whipsaw move. Two actually. One that minus 6, minus 5, because like I said, when that counter arrow comes in, you can just exit the trade because something's wrong. It shouldn't do that in most cases. The dynamic trend bands are so powerful that once they get going, that momentum gets flying. You're going to get your 10 ticks in most cases. Now the rule is too, I have to clarify this, for crude oil, I like to say 8 to 10 ticks. And it's a fast mover, but you got to kind of you got to kind of watch on a certain trade if it's not really taken off of the real thrust and they start pushing up around 8 ticks and maybe stalling up there, just grab 7, 8, 9 tick. I mean, don't try to get too serious about running a limit trade, limit order on the 10 ticks. I would say 8 out of 10 times they're going to hit that and they'll plow through it. But sometimes they kind of get up to around 8 ticks and they start stalling. Sometimes it's better to just it's the difference of having an $80 420s in your hand in American money or 520s. Big deal. You got $80 in your hand. Oh, you missed 20, big deal. But most of the time you're going to get 520s or $100 bill in your hand. So that's 11 ticks, 1326 plus 11, 37 ticks. So what the math shows, 37 ticks loss, 65 setups, so that's 650 ticks, and two third level trades would be for an extra 20. So 670 ticks, 670 minus 37, and I just want to disclaim talking about the money because I don't want to I'm not trying to stick big money figures and go, ooh, look at that, buy Boomerang. I'm not doing this to really sell Boomerang, and we're mostly these classes for those who own Boomerang and we're training how to do it. So just so you know, I'm trying to be real straight that I'm not trying to promote it by showing big money. I'm just showing you the scientific facts of with the trade setups I saw. If you caught all these, 633 ticks times $10 on one contract over the last 10 session period. I didn't finish doing the full 14. That's $6,330. Now, what did we forget? That's right, commish. So with 65 setups, 67, 68, 69, 71 setups, so 71 times $4.50 commish, $315. So look at that, it takes you right down to $6,005. And again, I'm disclaiming the money, but I'm just telling you the potential. If you got half of that in 3 weeks or 10 sessions, that's pretty good. You're going to get more, I expect, but if you got half of that and you traded 2 contracts, you got yourself a good little living there. And we got traders that are doing 10 contracts and more, so you build yourself up. Just depends on your money amount, your capacity, how well you've read my affirmations and really worked those into your system. That's a big part of it, just getting really strong. But I like to say 90% winning trade signals. If you took half of them, you did really good. If you took 2/3 of them, you did great. If you got 3/4 of them, but nobody's going to get all of them. But they're being delivered. This is the guarantee. They're being delivered by the software. It's a matter of aligning yourself with the software, getting yourself in a really good mindset that you are working the odds. And again, just let me flip back real quick. I've just posted this yesterday. I'm so proud and happy to be able to share this with you so we can all get better and better at what we do. You go to daytradersaction.com, scroll down. I'm brand new. I just put the working with trading affirmations. And of course, I got my Hawaii video on here with affirmations. Always nice to take a mental trip to Hawaii. And then, of course, here's my top 10 affirmations, and a lot of it just talks about I have a strong belief in probabilities because Boomerang Day Trader has such strong probabilities. The signals that are coming out following the simple method, the probability is so strong that reduces your fear of loss, and you affirm it. Discipline, I have patience, I have no fear of loss, and I have a strong belief in probabilities. If you want to copy, paste this and type up, I have a strong belief in Boomerang Day Trader probabilities. I trade the market not for the money. I'm a trading machine. I'm focused, confident, highly disciplined. You're going in there and popping out those trade signals as they show up. And I'm wait for 100% rule-based trades that meet my criteria. So just real quickly, I wanted to show you that I've created a massive wonderful library that I've collected over the years of trading affirmations. You'll notice it if you're familiar with Anthony Robbins' work, who I love. If you'll see some of that neuro-linguistic programming language spliced in here, which is very valuable. Um, I used it many years ago back in the 80s to walk over those hot coals. You know, he has those seminars in those 2,000-degree hot coals. And at first, I went to the seminar. I go, well, I'm just going to come and watch everything. And boy, when he was done speaking that night, and he said, oh, by the way, we're not going to wait for the end of the weekend to do the coal walk. We're going to do that tonight, get it out of the way so I can finish the rest of the weekend's work. And everybody started, literally sweating. And boy, I was the first one to roll up my pants. I was ready to get in there and walk on those coals, and it was fun, very invigorating. But you'll see a lot of that type of motivation spliced in here. Look at that. Look at all those quotes. You're going to love these. Wait till you start reading these. You're going to get really fired up about trading with Boomerang. So we give you both sides of the coin. I've been meaning to do this for a while, really up the side of the trader's mindset, and I've done that with these affirmations. They're yours. You take them, you work with them within yourself, and you will get great results. I'm sure of it. So back to the crude oil. So here's a crude oil setup here. Now we don't use the 1.5 squish here. So you can see that this came in right as they're crossing, so you might have got this. Now this orange line is a filter that I use. It's part of my new Boomerang roadmap, which is available for at a very low cost, and it's a whole comprehensive way to read the markets in a more substantial way. You absolutely don't need it to trade with Boomerang. Boomerang's all set just by itself, but I do have that filter on here, and all it is if we see the Cobra come under that filter and we're right close to that 1.5 or right near the cross, it gives you a little advance notice that, boy, we're awfully close here on the crude oil, and they're ready to cross, because we're basing all of our trades on the dynamic trend bands crossing over, because it's such powerful force that usually they're going to go that way, and we want to put all the probabilities on our side. So I just use this filter, which is again part of the roadmap, and you can purchase that if you want to look at the blog. You can see it in there. It's amazing. But you don't. It's an advanced study of reading the market bias. You can use it on any stock, any chart, any ETF, any future, especially designed for Boomerang. But just so you know, that's what that is. And so I use that in my live room, and I said, well, the Cobra's crossing. It's so close. I'm going to hit them. Boom! I get short. And 74 just dropped off like a stone, and I got 10 ticks. Sure, they went to 53, but you know what? I got my 10 ticks. I'm out. I'm happy. I'm taking a deep breath and going, whew. Because no matter how long you've been trading, this business, it's a nervous business, I don't use the trend trade method on crude oil. Remember we talked about that early on the NAS? That's where the dynamic trend band, number one, crosses the Cobra, and then you trade the soonest reflection back to the Cobra, which would have been right here. This candle spiked up, so you'd have been, if you had used this, you've been short at 60. They ramped up to 70, 69, 70, not too pleasant. But you'd have a 13 tick stop in there, but then they immediately slammed down to 35. So, but I honestly, I do not use the second level trades. I mean, I use the second levels, but not the trend method on crude. For crude, I just like the straight first trade on the crossover, and it cuts my trades back to, there's maybe only 4, 5, 6 setups a day, but I just feel better when I got everything matching color. I really watch primarily for colors match crossover, at least the crossover, but matching colors practically I always just wait, because you get them here. If they cross and the colors match, you got a lot of force there to run that 07 there. See, that 5407 just slams right up to 28. You pull that 10 ticks out and you're done. And here you can see right with the prices crossing under the dynamic trend band number 2 here. If you didn't get short here, you kind of were out of luck, and they fell right off the wagon, because there's no trade setup here. There's no crossover. Crossover occurs here, and they just fell off the wagon. So you got to just let them go. So again, on crude, I wouldn't take this. I wait till we get a crossover and or a color. However, you can apply the modification rule, which we talked about earlier, and that is, and it's described in my various webinars, if there's a crossover and all the pullbacks, a buy channel is open and all the pullbacks have been used up within the first 6 candles before the exact crossover occurs, then the crossover occurs, you can take the next pullback to the Cobra, which is this thicker dotted line, and 76 jumps up to 95, and there's your 10 ticks. And I honestly, I don't look at it past that. Now, if there was a counter move and then setting up a second level trade, I might take that. In most cases, yes, but you just let it go. Go get a drink of water or coffee or juice, whatever. Watch that coffee though when you're trading. Trading's hyper enough. You don't want to have, you don't need to be fired up to trade. Trading alone, if you're doing it right, it'll fire you up enough without having to. I mean, if you're half asleep, you shouldn't be trading anyway. Maybe then you could drink some coffee and let it settle in and then come and trade. But I'm just advising you. I've done that too many times where I thought, oh, I'm a little sleepy. I'll drink some of I have this special guarana tea that I like. And you get too rambunctious and maybe you overtrade or you get too Rambo. You don't want to get too much Rambo going there. Anyway, buy channel opens up, pull back the signal line with dynamic trend bands matching. On the crude oil, I wait for them to match, and there's your 10 ticks. And you can see we had on this day, which was the, oh, I did it again. I took the chart all the way back, but I was measuring them from the 6th forward. Anyway, we just did the 5th, and there was what, like 5, 6 trades at $500 a contract. Is a darn good living. 2 contracts, a little commission. You carve out a 5, 6, 7, $800,000 paycheck every day, and then you get better and better at what you do. And all possibilities are there. What's possible? So with that in mind. I wanted to mostly explain the setups today and go over those with you. I could go endlessly over them with you. Short here. Well, this is, yeah, short. This is the next day. Short. No long here. They cross here. This one came in right as a channel opened. A fat channel is formed. No trade there. Just wait, wait, wait. Nothing here. A lot of disappointment. You got to wait sometimes because they just fall off and you don't have the setup occurring. Nothing here because you got a flat, no crossover, but this is a second level trade. See, they bounce back, but they don't force the trend band to change. Then you get the sell, then you take that. Those are the best winning trades there. They always work out really good. Here's another one. The crossover was within 1.5 points. Right, and you see that the Cobra has crossed the dynamic trend band number 2 and it crossed the filter, so that's why usually sometimes you just say, nah, I'm going to just go for this one because it's been a long road down. They may reverse and you can get in here. If you're just going to wait for the exact straight method, then you missed, this trade didn't happen, and that's no crime either. Crossover here, same thing, using the filter here or pull back to the signal line right here. And 85 came down to 76, so that's where you have to use that 8 to 10 tick because it was whipsawing a little, and sometimes you just got to be willing to take 8 ticks, and then it counter whipsawed. You didn't get stopped out here, but it was a little scary, and then they finally hit them lower, and this actually was a counter move and then a counter sell side. So a lot of times if you do get stopped out or whatever, just stay ready if you're in a dynamic trend band crossover formation, because all of a sudden they may whipsaw a little, but then you get that second level sell, and make sure and get on board that. You'll make the points right back. Same thing here. If you wait for them to match color, the crossover, look at that. They're beautiful. They work out so good. Look at that classic right there. This is a second level move, counter move back. Everything nice and compact around the dynamic trend bands. Down they go. Again, are these one of those where when you got it's sure they crossed over, and sure the pullback to signal at 91 jumped up to 101, exactly 10 ticks, but with that flat to sloping down dynamic trend number 2 and that flat cobra, you're asking for it. You know, it might be you might get whipsawed on that, but just go in, and if you want to do it, just try to consider on a deal like this taking 8 ticks instead of 10. I mean, set your limit or whatever you're doing. Just be careful, and then watch for the counter reverse, because here they go reversing, trend bands matching, and there's 10 ticks again. See that? It's beautiful. Here's a crossover, matching dynamic trend bands, pull back the sig line, 72, jumps 81, missed it by a tick. So sometimes you just have to manage these trades, and then if they crunch here, then you go, oh, maybe this is yeah, it's what I call a has run trade. It's already run the 10 ticks just about. So you got to just figure that maybe it ain't going to pan out, and sure enough, they match trend bands. Don't worry about it if you get stopped out, because you just get back in another trade right after that, and down they go again. So it's a lot of fun. Look at that, matching dynamic trend bands. Look at that. I'm not making this up. It's like they match color, sell, down they go. Matching color, sell channel, down they go. Here again, crossover with a flat, it's just purely a flat. You put your cursor up and see it's totally flat. DTB, be a little careful on a big move. A lot of times they'll make that, but if you get in and it doesn't pan out exactly right, like here they got 39, ran up to 45, and then started getting crunched. But that's okay. Just be ready. Wash that trade out of your mind if you got out or whatever happened, and be ready, because here's another one on the short side, a counter move. Get your points right back. Here's a second level trade of the reset. Here's a matching dynamic trend bands here. Look at that. When they match, that's why I tend to wait for those. When they match, it's just it's a powerful thing. And if it doesn't work out, just wait, because all of a sudden, keep your attention on your focus here. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this affirmation. Nothing can add more power to your life than concentrating all your energies on a limited set of targeted goals. And when you're condensing that into a limited set of trading setups that are exact, specific, and have an 80 to 90% winning factor. See what I mean? That's goal setting there, but you concentrate everything on these winning setups, and you don't care, because you have faith in the probabilities. You're going to go in and knock out 4, 5, 6 winners, and on one contract, that's a nice living. Then you start building up. You do more contracts, and you're living the trading dream that so many fail at and so many suffer with. And this is an opportunity. So I've gone a little longer than I expected with the trade analysis, but that was the stats on 13 sessions on NAS, the last 13 from today back, and I missed most three recent one on crude, because I had to start the webinar today, but I did those 10, and it was like net after commish about $6,000, around 67 trade setups minus some stops. They're there. It's not as many as it was prior to the election, but I have a lot of faith they're going to come back. I think they're going to come back. Look at that. Here's when they crossed over. Just stay on that side, and you get a little whipsaw, but they eventually work their way up in most cases. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, right now, I really want to thank you so much, and thanks for joining with us today. And now, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those for you. And I have recorded this today, so we'll have a recording of the crude oil portion of the seminar.